Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another OSR tabletop live stream with myself, Richard DM Bloodworth. And I am really sorry about the late notice for this live stream. I had only just gotten, or actually, I've only just seen the direct message that Victor will look to, attend an interview today at 4 o'clock. Which I didn't see until about 3:30. So again, I apologize for the late notice. While I'm waiting for Victor to pop on, because Victor, of course, is he is the creator of Cutthroats and Thieves, which is a card game that I had showcased on my channel about 2 weeks ago or so. It was a part of a Kickstarter that I had backed. And I really enjoyed the game. Actually, I played it solo, and he was going to come on and talk a little bit about the game, correct some of the mistakes that I made. But as he said in his comments to me, he says part of the mistakes that I had made was because I was playing it single player, and so that's why there was a little disconnect in the rules. Because I was obviously playing it differently than how it's supposed to be run. So that's first of all, but also Dave is also, Victor. Victor is also associated with and the coordinator of Dave Con. So I want to give him the opportunity to talk about that. And he is going to be at EggCon. EGG Con, or Gary Gygax Con, later this month. So that's coming up really soon as well. So once Victor gets in, it's going to be all about what he is doing and get into his all the things that he is currently working on and some of his future plans. In the meantime, I wanted to just open it up and talk a little bit about gaming in general, and some of the things that I will be doing over the next couple of days, since I am currently still on a kind of mini vacation right now, and don't work again until next week, and it's just for Monday through Thursday, and then I'll be on another mini vacation. So there will be a lot of content on this channel coming out almost every day, and whether it just be shorts, which I'm going through a walkthrough of my shelf behind me. Someone had asked me to do that, and so I've been doing a series of short videos going over book by book on each of my shelves. I'm only up to shelf number 5 right now, and there's quite a number of them. So that's going to be a long process of short videos. I'll probably do one of those later on this evening as well. Please feel free to jump in there on the comments and, to bring up anything that either you have going on in gaming while we're waiting on Victor, or, anything that any general topic that you would like to talk about, and we can get into a discussion over that. I did notice that some of the channels that I do follow mentioned that Wizards of the Coast has a new president. Forgetting his name right now. I was going to do a video on it perhaps later. It really doesn't impact me directly in my gaming. Whomever Wizards of the Coast has as their president, and and any other moves that they kind of make, because I am the OSR tabletop. All right, I really only focus on old school gaming and independent gaming, as you can tell by what I have on my shelf behind me, and what my channel actually covers. So, but I know that's general interest as to hobby wise, as to what's going on with Wizards of the Coast or whatever. And again, I may bring it up in a separate video. Although chances are I probably won't, because like I said, it really doesn't impact my gaming whatsoever. Um, I'm not going to, pick up their, I'm not going to pick up their 2024 books or 2025. At least one of them is coming out in 2025. I have no interest in playing or certainly running 5e. I don't even actually own it any longer. I gave it what I did have, very little of it. What I did have, I've given away. I, I don't plan on messing with their VTT or their video game or whatever they want to call it. That seems to be what they're really focusing on anyway. And so I'm not that interested in it, and really doesn't impact my gaming whatsoever. They can do whatever they want with Dungeons and Dragons going forward. I will still continue playing Castles and Crusades or Shadow Dark, or running future campaigns, going back to AD&D First Edition, most likely again, with some modifications and homebrews built into that. But yeah, it's just not a real impact on me at all. But if people want me to talk about it, then I certainly will. If anyone really wants to do a whole panel discussion on it, I'm certainly welcome to either join you on your channel, or you can come to mine and we can talk on mine about it as well. I'm just double checking on Victor and seeing how he's coming along with the thing, and he hasn't come back on yet. So, hey Peter, how's it going? Good to see you. And yeah, so I'm just waiting on Victor to log in, but I'm just talking in general, and certainly to your interest, I'm looking to get back to doing some coverage on Savage Worlds, and so I should be getting around to that right now. Currently in my cycle of I was going to do another Conan, the Hyborian Age RPG, which is currently in quick start, and I believe the Kickstarter for that is scheduled for sometime in September. So I've been looking at that. I was actually going to do that video this afternoon until Victor reached out to me. So, but love to chat with you anytime that you have your next project. I know you just put out that a post on Facebook, I believe it was, where you were saying what your next project is going to be or whatever. So feel free to talk about that as well. And so hello, Mercurius. Always good to see you, man. And yeah, I'm just waiting on Victor to come in, and as soon as he does, I know this was a super short notice that I was doing this live stream. So while we're waiting on Victor, I'd certainly love to have a chat with you as well. And we are going to check out this next thing. Awesome. I'm on a new project for Savage Worlds. Yeah, I know you mentioned it, but you're also interested in the Conan stuff. Yeah, I was going to start to get into the actual combat system of it, and I was going to break that up into two different parts. So the video that I'll do probably later on tonight now is the combat system, which is just on the attack side, and then I'll go into the defense, the armor, and the and taking damage, and then the consequences of taking damage on the in another video, probably in a day or two. And I like to mix things up on my channel and not do 3-4 videos in a row of the same game system. I like to break things up and spread it throughout. So be curious, as always. Thank you so much for all of the memberships and everything that you gift out there. You're extremely generous, and so that's always good to see. you bringing more and more people to the channel and supporting the channel through those gifts. So very, very much appreciative. And I certainly like the way that you do it, because you're not only giving frequently, but you're also you're giving to others as well. So yeah, that's super appreciative. And kudos to you for all the things that you do. And I know you do it on other channels as well. So you're an extremely generous guy, and I'm glad to have you here. So let's see, Peter. The next project's in the works, and I have partnered with a super cool artist for it. It's a big departure from my existing stuff, going back to 1988 for summertime sci-fi mystery. All right, cool. Big kids on bikes, Goonies, Tales from the Loop type of vibe. Cool. Yeah, so that's really good to hear. And certainly look to see that. And as you get closer, to whether you're going to do a Kickstarter or something like that, certainly welcome to have you come on, and we will certainly talk about it, and I'll let you talk about it, and we'll certainly boost it on the channel as well. Big fan of your work. Sat in your game. Let me know when you're doing other, any other conventions coming up. I will probably be at Rising Phoenix again. I'm not sure. I'm kind of shopping around. I see that once Victor comes on, he does do DaveCon in April as well. And if ever I can manage to get out to there, next year might be possibly, a chance for me to do that. And I will spend some time talking about that as well. So yeah, definitely welcome you onto the channel when you have that project ready to roll. So let's see what else. What else was I going to talk about while we wait on Dave? Dave, I'm going to keep on saying Dave because Dave Con is stuck in my head. Let me just do those real quick banners. That way. So EGG Con, all right. So I will share this, and oh, I lost it. Oh no, here it is. All right. So EGG Con, I will share this here. So he is going to be running his game at EGG Con. This is July 27th, 26, 27, and 28. So really in less than 2 weeks. And Cutthroats and Thieves. It's a card game that I showcased on my channel. And he does have some openings for it. So there's still 3 tickets available. And you can go on over there and check it out. EGG Con, I'll show you a little display here, and let's see what it's looking like on the front page here. So just in 7 days, actually, it's only a week away for the start of it. And let's see some of these special guests that they have. Looks like some cool artwork and very traditional stuff here. So let's see the guests. So Chris Arneson, special guest of honor, is a freelance illustrator who grew up with the love for Dungeons and Dragons, especially its art. All right. So then Christopher Clark. Let's see his connections to it. It appears that he was a big-time fan, met Gary Gygax when he was just 15 years old. And then we have Dave Conant. He grew up in Lake Geneva, and So he works both with Gary Kahn and with Tom Lamb Games. Ernie Gary Gygax Jr., of course, goes without saying. Heidi Gygax Garland will be there. Harold Johnson will be there. Um, Harold Johnson actually, was hired. He was an editor for TSR in 1978, and over those years, he took on many different roles. We have Pat Kilbane, who is a special guest as well. And let's see, he's the director of the Dreams in Gary's Basement documentary about Gary Gygax. Frank Metzner, without saying, most should know who Frank is. I've had the pleasure of meeting him in person last year at the Philadelphia Game Expo, playing in his games and talking extensively with him, both pre-game and post, and really great experience. Michael Marnard, Paul Stomberg. Paul also well known within the industry. Stephen Sullivan, Tom Lamb. All right, so Penny Williams, also a special guest. So we have a lot of people going to EGGCon, and looking forward to maybe someday I will get out there and see. So I will get back to banners here and take that down. So anyway, again, while we're waiting on Victor, I will continue talking. Let's stop sharing so I can fix my screen there. So other things. So actually, I am in the process on my own. What I did was I just added another event that I will be running at the Philadelphia Area Game Expo in 2025. And so I will be running another session of Shadow Dark, and I will be running specifically a War in the Valley, which is written by Tom Wilson. And I was seeing, when I was looking at the potential either games or seminars that I was going to participate in on Friday afternoon, I was like, wow, I have like a 4-hour block that that I had wide open. And so I was like, you know what, I can easily either squeeze a game in there, or perhaps sit on a panel or whatever. But once it was mentioned that the game submissions might be closing earlier than expected because there was that many filled up, I was like, you know what, let me get another game in there and spend my time at the convention running games, because that's something that me personally I want to do, is to grow as a convention game master, and it's something that I was truly impressed with actually Peter when I sat in his game, and that really solidified with me. I was like, it is a special it's a special talent to be able to run a convention game and to have it go as smoothly and as enjoyably as possible for everybody at the table. And I've always had some amount of success. I've always had people that filled up my tables and always had a good time running the games. But there's a different level of presentation when you come to the table, and that's something that I really wanted to work on, and just that there's a different level of delivery as well in taking a system and making it very, very accessible for just the people sitting down for the first time, that and the fact that they're only going to be there, um, for a short period of time, that you can't spend as much time going over game rules and really getting bogged down in the weeds over game rules as well. So it's a much more streamlined thing that you have to hammer down and deliver it that way. I know I just recently, probably this morning, I was listening to a video where they were um, talking about the issue of having spending too much time in character creation during a session zero at a convention setting. At least that's how I was taking it. And I thought to myself that you really shouldn't be spending that much time creating a character in a one shot. And that's just the wrong way, in my opinion, to go about it in that kind of a setting. It should be, sit down, maybe spend about 15 minutes at most creating a character if they want to do that. I prefer giving out pre-generated characters. That way you can spend more time on just going over some of the very, very basic rules and then playing the game. And I know sitting on Peter's, at Peter's table, um, when he stepped up and stood in for someone who couldn't make it, and so he ran his adventure, totally different system, but kind of the same aliens kind of storyline. He had all of those materials ready to just hand out. It was very, very easy to play a game system I was not that familiar with, and then still function through the adventure. And it took very, very little time to actually get everyone ready to start role playing and ready to start going through the adventure. And so that really did inspire me to think, hey, this is perfect to give me the idea of how to go forward with running games at conventions as well. Hey, Mark, how's it going? Good to see you. And yeah, so strong proponent of no character creation at conventions unless it's a major feature of the game or something. Yeah, and it really does depend on the system. The last thing that I would do, like Shadow Dark has a very, very quick system of creating a character. You could do it online in about 5 minutes. You can create a character. I mean, it is that, between 5 and 10 minutes or so, you can create a character. I would never have players sitting at a table with an iPad creating a character. I really wouldn't like them having any kind of technology at the table whatsoever. I'm a very physical, physical features of role playing, so I like to have the books on the table. I like to have real dice at the table. And if they're going to create a character, they're going to create a character on a character sheet and do the dice rolling very, very quickly, but only for systems where it's very, very simple. It's not like you're going to spend a session. I got into that comment. I actually left a comment on the video this morning. I was like, if you're doing like Rollmaster, I mean, Rollmaster takes literally 3 hours to make a character. And so you're not going to spend 2-3 sessions of session zero creating characters. To me, that's just a waste of everybody's time. Certainly if you have them coming to the table, coming to the table and spending 3 hours just doing character creation. I'd have them created at home, and then when we come in together, we're going to come together to play, not to generate characters for the entire session. But when I most recently did my session 0 for my Shadow Dark campaign, we literally spent about 15 minutes talking about characters and kind of tweaking them just slightly, and then about 15 minutes or so just talking about the general rules, and then the next 2.5 hours actually playing. And they were actually learning about the city that they were in, and they were role playing, and they were meeting NPC contacts that they might, either encounter the first time or come together later on, and then and then just kind of set up for the first true session of adventuring that they were going to go on. And I just did that session this past Friday, and that was just from start to finish, all adventure. And it ran out, to roughly three hours and 15 minutes or so that it took for them to complete the one shot. And it was all gameplay. It was all, role playing and adventuring and whatnot, and very little nuts and bolts kind of dealing with the aftermath of the adventure, and in a meta fashion as well. So it was like, no, you earn 5 experience points and just put them on your character sheet, and this is the breakdown of the treasure that they got. And actually, I gave that to them yesterday, so it was took some time to tally everything up, and we handle all of that behind the scenes so that when we're at the virtual table together, we're spending that time actually just running the game session. So even when I start a new one shot or a campaign, character creation should take no more than 15 minutes. Yes, Deadwood format paper. Yeah. I mean, there shouldn't be much more than that. And again, if you need another 10, 15 minutes, just going over the very, very basic rules, you don't need more than that. You don't need more than the bare basics to do a one shot. And when I run systems like Weird Frontiers, which is a very, very complex system, at a convention setting, you have to limit which character classes the players can get into, because at a convention setting, you have someone new to the game sitting down, and you don't have time for them to learn about, oh, well, what spells am I going to use, and blah, 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 and go all into, the very in the weeds depths of the game system itself. So I usually try to very much trim that down. And there, in that case, giving pre-gen characters is the way to go, because you will never actually manage to finish that up. So I'm hoping that that Victor and I are not completely like, could he be a different time zone too? So when he said 4 o'clock, he might have meant 4 o'clock, 4 o'clock his time, Central, which would be another half hour or so. So, but no matter what, we'll still keep on rolling and see what else. So I will bring up something else here. So he also does Dave Con, and so I want to, I will boost that right now before he comes on. So let's see, present. So here's Dave Con, and this is something that Victor organizes. And so this is scheduled for April 25th through the 27th, 2025 in Bloomington, Minnesota. And here are the special guests for that. So you have Dave McGarry, the original Blackmore player and inventor of Dungeon, the board game. David Wesley, who is someone I really do want to meet in person. So he is the grandfather of role-playing games, the creator of Braunstein, and he is actually the true creator of modern-day role-playing games. It went from Dave Wesley to then Dave Arneson, and Dave Arneson is the one that introduced the whole concept of role-playing to Gary Gygax, who then, along with Dave Arneson, created Dungeons and Dragons 1974. Mike Carr, one of the original Blackmore players, will also be there. William Hoyt, an original player. Ross Maker, the co-creator of Source of the Nile, an original Blackmore player. Baron Durop, a dungeon masterpiece, so a YouTuber. Here, Heidi Gygax and Eric Garland, obviously daughter of Gary Gygax and co-founder of Gaxland with Eric, along with a suffering husband. Just kidding, Eric is and Heidi. Justin Alexander. So you want to be a game master and an RPG and developer at Atlas Games. Bob Worldbuilder, Grace Worldbuilder, Grace the World Destroyer. Greg Gillespie, so game designer, and David Johnson as well. So we have Thomas and Dave Yeager, creators of Mystic Days. I've actually had them on my channel, and I have, I back their project, Mystic Days, and I have that, and totally different game system if you've never seen that before. So that's certainly an interesting game system to take a look at. Ken Fletcher, Kevin McCall, Mark Rain Hagen, I guess that's how you pronounce it, author of Vampire the Masquerade. So a lot of, very well-known individuals going to that. And so let's see. So I've had a debate with one of my players about how it's easier to teach a new player the older systems than the newer systems. Yeah, it's the older systems, especially when you're looking at, some of the very, like early D&D is not the earliest D&D. All right, so D&D, OD&D 1974 is a bit challenging to teach. It's much more of a tabletop war game than you might imagine. And when I do like a very, very careful walkthrough of OD&D, the original, and show you, I think I've done that once in the past. But there's whole sections in that very, very first adventure, the Temple of the Frog, that is mass combat, and it's like, no, this is definitely a war game disguised as what we would become, what we would start to know as tabletop role-playing game. And then the easiest, I think, and probably the best, is Dungeons and Dragons BECMI. All right, so the basic expert, companion. Yeah, I always get those, companion, then masters, and then immortals. Basic and followed by expert, I think, are the best books of any role-playing system, to introduce a player to a new game. The only possible exception, modern day possible exception to that, is Shadow Dark is so easy to introduce new players to it. By far one of the the most easy games to introduce players to for a modern game system. That is probably right up there, parallel with D&D Back-Me. But I like Back-Me over the Rules Cyclopedia because it chunks it down, and so you only have to deal with levels 1 to 3 with the first book, and then you'll do 4 to 12, I believe it is, with the second book. So it's it's a much simpler system for new players, and I like the fact that the first book, the first box set limits the players to just levels 1 through 3. That way, they're not looking ahead and seeing all of the things going out, in the future that their characters could be doing. They're just focusing on learning the system and learning their characters through the first couple of levels, and they have no other concerns than that. So I really do like that model of of introducing new players to the system. I run OSC. Yeah, I almost backed OSC back when it first came out, and then I got myself into the mindset of how many OSR games do I really need on my shelf, and I've played it a couple times, and OSC, I know it's tremendously popular. I don't see why I would play OSC over AT&D First Edition, to be honest with you. It's just, or D&D Back-Me, or any of the older versions of D&D, because OSC just doesn't do anything that's like, wow, that's really different aspect of it. So I didn't back it, and I really don't regret not having backed it. It's fine. I can do without OSE. I kind of had a similar issue or thought with Dragon Slayer. So Greg Gillespie's Dragon Slayer RPG. I kept on asking the question, if I have a D&D First Edition and I have Holmes, because that's the combination, I believe, that it's been described at. If I already have those two, then why do I need this? And no one could answer that question. It's like, it's like I can homebrew and combine those two up from their original sources and come up with the same, come up with something that works for my table rather than having that. So that's that was the case with that. Let's see. So I don't need to. I forget. Did I add this to the stage? I forget. I don't know if I did this on the screen before, but this is Dave Con. So this is something else that Dave also runs, and I might have gone through this without actually sharing it on screen there with you. But real quick, that was the cover page for it. And now I'll stop sharing and come back over here. Okay. All of my players have never played anything before third, so it was all new to them. A lot of I lost all of my first and second in-house fire many years ago. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, I ended up having to replace everything that I had back in the the 80s, and I had basically sold off everything that I had around 2000 when I got married, and had a yard sale and basically sold off virtually all of my books. And then, with the exception of like some of my novels and stuff like that. And then when I got back into tabletop role playing, because I had spent about 15 years doing nothing but MMOs, that I was like, you know what, I really want to get back into tabletop role playing, which I started to around 2015. And I just ended up buying virtually everything that I had back in the day, if not everything that I had back in the day. And now my collection is mostly just picking up stuff that is new rather than the things that I was playing back in the 80s, because I have, I'm pretty sure, almost all of that. I'd have to really sit back and think about, what did I have back then that I don't right now? And I don't think there's any game that really stands out that I played back in the 80s and don't already have a copy of it. So, and that's why I've been doing those things there. Yeah, so I'm gonna guess that my disconnect with Dave, Victor, is time zone difference. When he said 4 o'clock, he meant his time, and I probably forgot. I was probably not thinking that he meant 4 o'clock his time. So, so he should be here in about 20 minutes or so, and I will continue rambling and talking about my own gaming stuff. So as I said, I for Philadelphia Game Expo, I added a fourth game time slot, and let me bring that up here. So I will bring that up, and actually I'll bring up ShireCon first, because all right, I will bring up ShireCon first, because that's coming up in September. So at ShireCon, I will be running Shards of Ymir. It's originally Conan 2D20, but I am in the process right now of converting that to Shadow Dark. And then Whiskey Creek Runs Red, which is an adventure that I had written for Gangbusters BX. So those are two game sessions that I am running at ShireCon, and then I'll see whose game I'll sit in on. Both of those adventures are adventures that I have written myself, and Whiskey Creek Runs Red is already on drive-through, has been out for a couple of years, and it's done fairly well. And then Shards of Ymir, I will be, like I said, retooling it to Shadow Dark, and then I will be publishing that on drive-through sometime later on, either this year or certainly in time for Philadelphia Game Expo. So that's my plans for ShireCon, and ShireCon is in September 27th and 28th, and so those are two that I will be running. Then I'll go to Philadelphia area and Game Expo, and this one I am host my submissions. So now I am running 4 sessions. So I will be running Whiskey Creek Runs Red, that Gangbusters game that I have written. I will be running The Slumbering City, which is a Shadow Dark game session. That's written by Tom Wilson. And then I'll be running Shards of Ymir, Shadow Dark version of it for sure, written by myself. And then A War in the Valley, which is a Shadow Dark, also written by Tom Wilson. But I did contribute and was given special thanks for some contributions to that as well. Most of the games that I'm running, I played at least some role in their creation. And the Philadelphia Game Expo is January 16th through the 19th of 2025 in obviously Philadelphia. So that's something I have coming up, and looking forward to that as well. Yes, it was a surprise, random time frame. I wish I knew exactly, when he put in, when he put in 4 o'clock, he sent me a text around like 2:39 or something, which I didn't see it until like 3:30. And he says it's 4 o'clock. I'm good for 4 o'clock. So I was like, all right, great. Let me create this stream real fast and send it out. So really only gave you a half an hour's notice for it. So, I wasn't thinking that he is actually in a different time zone, and he just put 4. He didn't put 4 Central, which would have been nice, because then I would have known, hey, 5 o'clock is the time to run it. But hopefully he logs in and it'll be 15 minutes or so. And actually, I will send him a little thing. I started 4 o'clock Eastern. Okay. I just sent him a little message there, and I started 4 o'clock Eastern. So hopefully he jumps in, and we'll catch him on the second portion of the time and let him talk about it. If anyone wants to jump in, I can send you I'll put the link, I'll post the link here if you want to jump in and chat. So here we go. And so anyone else, you can jump in and chat there. And again, once again, Mercurius, thank you for that. Much appreciative. I didn't see who actually won it. I probably have to go back and see who actually won that. But anyway, so other news. So again, like I said, I wasn't going to bring up the Adam Pender won it. All right, cool. Yeah, and Adam usually is usually in, so that's good that he won it. So, getting back to some things that have been going on. Like I said, I wasn't going to do a stream or even a video talking about Wizards of the Coast new president, or new CEO, whatever they're calling it. I think they called him a president. New president of Wizards of the Coast. And there was a woman also added on, where she's the vice president of something like people communications. It was such a weird thing. I guess she is the replacement for Kyle Brink, and hopefully she doesn't have the same kind of attitude of not being very gamer friendly, let's say. But I don't anticipate, the guy that they did hire as the president of Wizards of the Coast is basically a video game guy. He's coming over from Blizzard the Warhammer Online, Warcraft. I'm sorry, Warcraft Online. So he's coming over from Blizzard Warcraft Online, which I like the World of Warcraft and everything. Back in the day, I like the older version better than the newer version, to be honest with you. But it was a game that I only liked up to level 20, and I never liked going into the grind after level 20 anyway. And it's a, if that's what they're bringing to, then it's just an indicator again that they'll be moving further and further away from tabletop role-playing games that are book-based, as I described it in a post that I left on Eric Tankar's channel when he kind of broke the news for me. He was the first that I saw talking about. And hey, there's Victor.
Hey, finally.
Hey, Victor. I started thinking, I was like, did I get I didn't think time zones.
That's fine. I got a call from Andy at Mystic Days, Gloomer's Games. He says, why aren't you at home? I'm like, I'm 5 minutes away. I know I'm not late. And he says, you are for bloody. And I'm like, oh, man.
Yeah. When you said 4, I was like, all right, cool. 4. It's I just jumped on and created the stream, and right. But it's good to see you. All right. And so the first thing I'm going to do is, this is the first time I'm seeing Angry Dwarf Games, even though it's on the card decks and everything. I didn't put that. So when did you start using that? Because that's new for me.
Angry Dwarf Games has been on since at least 2000.
I
started Angry Dwarf Games. When I did the Keep It Blood Red Falls, my first module, I printed my first module was at Keep It Blood Red Falls, which is Angry Dwarf. And now I've done the I don't know if you've got a copy of this, but the whoa, I gotta get this. How do I change this here?
The only way you could do that is by getting rid of the background.
Yeah. I don't know how you do that here.
Oh, you just go to your settings.
Yeah.
And it says virtual backgrounds, and you just get rid of it.
All right, there. Lost Tomb of Doom, the last module by last AD&D module that I know of by James Ward. I put that only made about 250 of those bad boys, 275, and that's and then I did of course you see it, Bloody's
everyone, I showed them, and I did a video on it too. So this is what we're really we're going to be talking about is Cutthroats and Thieves. But I also, while I was waiting you to come on, I talked about Dave Con. So I brought up Dave Con, and but I'll let you spend some time with that as well. And I also brought up EGG Con, all right, because you're running Cutthroats and Thieves there, correct?
Right. Yep.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, let me see what else is coming up. And I was like, oh, wait, he's going to be at EggCon. And so I showed that as well, but we'll boost it all. And
I will have some limited quantities, very limited quantities at EggCon, because my shipment from overseas right now is at the Port of Long Beach in LA. And it was supposed to be here by Friday, and tomorrow, but it's not going to be here.
Yeah.
You know how the variances of that stuff are, and I wasn't going to pay it through my nose to get stuff from China again. So I will have limited quantities at EggCon if somebody wants to pick one up there. And then after April 15th, it'll go on full sale. And I'm trying to work on the numbers right now and stuff to get it over at Amazon. So then I'll have it through Amazon. So
well, I do have to say that I actually enjoyed playing it solo. All right. even though you obviously have to modify the rules a bit,
Yep.
and that's what led me to, like, I'm fairly certain I used the assassin card wrong, but I knew I was using it wrong because I was like, well, I can't do that with, playing it solo. I have to be able to see both card decks, and
Right.
so when you're stealing, you're going to see what you're stealing rather
Right.
than whatnot. So I wasn't sure how many cards were supposed to be shown, and I'll let you describe that.
Okay. All right. First things first. In the game, you deal out 8 cards to everybody, which is standard fare. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you get your 8 cards, and then of course everything's hidden. You don't tell anybody what you've got throughout
Right.
the game. There's no telling anybody anything except for your lock boxes, which they can see the lock box, but they don't know what's inside of it. You know what I mean? They don't know how much gold coin is on the inside. But anyways, you get your 8 cards. You draw every turn. Every time that it passes to you, you draw a card, and it's you either do an action, which is or you do a pass the turn to somebody else. So
Right.
there's all kinds of cards in it, and as you've seen, some of them can get quite nefarious.
Right.
which is part of being a cutthroat and a thief. You want to steal. You can steal someone's lockbox. You can switch cards with people. You can take some of your cards and get rid of them. You can get rid of your whole hand and get rid of it if you really don't like it, which I've done a few times in even me.
Oh, so that's when you use that card that
Ditch the goods. Yep, you get the ditch the goods card. You look at your hand. You go, well, this is garbage. You just fold it all in and you just get rid of it. Take 8 new cards.
See,
That's what
I
I
was
do.
thinking of using, because again, I was using it where you were open, you could see everyone's cards,
Right.
and I would use the ditch the goods card against somebody if I saw that they were very close to finishing up an
That's it.
artifact set.
That's what
You know?
the assassination card is for. The assassination
Okay,
card is here you go. You lose everything. All your cards go away except for your lock boxes. Now,
I see. Yeah, but
you should
when they put the, oh, you could steal the lockbox though too.
right. You
So
steal the rock box with the burglary card. So
yeah, so bottom line is that you would put your artifact cards, which can only lockbox 3 of them, correct?
no. You cannot put any of your artifact or relic cards inside the lockbox. You can only
Oh,
hold
okay,
them
okay.
in your hand. Only gold coins go in the lockbox because the lockbox is just a little tiny little thing. Now,
Yeah.
in a future iteration of the game, meaning I'm making new cards. Where are they right now? Okay, right here is got my little test deck right here.
Mhm.
Um, I'm making a Godly Powers expansion pack, which has things like a safe where you could stick 3 of your uh, relic cards in there and hope to God you hit that 4th one later on. There's also a card in there called a Loki card where everybody switches hands, meaning you got your entire hand sitting in front of you.
Mhm.
You pass it to the left.
Right.
Somebody plays it. You're sitting there at 90 points and you're like, I got to give this to him.
Yeah.
The whole hand goes around, so it really messes up the game. You know what I mean? But you only
Yeah.
get to play that. You only get to play some of those cards once in the Godly Powers when you add the Godly Powers ones. The ones you have in the regular deck right now and the expansion packs, you can you play. You can play those all the time. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm working right now on doing that. I've played some of it with Andy and Dave from Gloomer Games at EverCon this year.
Right.
I'm testing it with David Wesley and his gaming group and stuff. And yeah, that's an experience playing with really experienced gamers for the first time. They're like, all right, they're trying to poke holes in the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, that's basically like when I was doing it, I was like, there should be solo play rules, and how would
I,
how would this?
I didn't figure out the solo play rules. Most of these rules, as you know, I drive a truck around
Right.
and
Right.
I'm like, all right, I got to put 4 people in my head and I'm playing the game in my head and going, okay, this works. It's
Yeah.
lots of hours sitting there just thinking about how each iteration goes along and how things are going to happen and stuff like that. So
when you were internally playtesting it, though, you obviously saw all the cards on the table.
No, I didn't. I made the call.
Oh,
What I did
right.
was my family members, my girlfriend, and
Oh, okay.
I have 4 sons, and I just sit them at the table and go, all right, I made up all the cards one day. And this is a tip for anybody that wants to, thinking about making a card game. Go on Amazon, and they have these little blank cards that you can buy. They're just playing cards.
Right.
And then use a printer and just put the address labels, address label printers, and make them the same size or just a little bit smaller. And you can put the card rules on there, and you could just sit there playing. That's how I developed the game. It was like, I knew I wanted gold coins. I knew I wanted the ability to steal cards from each other. And then I figured when I was making the game, I looked at it and went, there's got to be another way to win, not just the gold coins, because the gold coins is you're just gonna sit there and do things like play the what was the card? Oh God, now I gotta think about it here. I was like, even I invented the game. There's the one where you steal 25 gold from your opposite player or whoever you want, but there's got to be another way to win, and that's why I threw in the relic cards. And I was going through the AD&D deities and demigods, and I'm like, okay, I'm in a Scandinavian area of the country, so I decided to use the Norse mythos. And since I used the Norse mythos, I developed everything around that. So I was like, okay, Thor's hammer, you know what I mean? And these are the relic cards. And so I was like, okay, now in tournament play, if you collect all 4 of those cards, like all 4 of Thor's hammer's cards, that would be a 200-point win, because that is harder to get than getting 100 gold points together, gold coins. So, and I'm still working on the tournament rules a little bit, but with the advent of the Godly Powers cards, it's thrown that out of whack. You know what I mean? I'm sitting there going, oh, how do we, do you play with it or without them and stuff? And the Godly Powers cards are basically just so the game gets more raucous and fun. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh, I hate you. You're sitting there with 90 points and you have to pass your whole hand to your left. You know what I mean? Or your right.
Right.
And crazy stuff like that. So, what else do we want to talk about, Bloody?
All right. Well, we were gonna, let's talk a little bit about DaveCon, because with EdCon, you're just running the game that you're describing. So, if anyone wants to, check it out, and they're going to EdCon, then you can definitely check it out there. DaveCon, I'm assuming that at DaveCon you're going to be doing it there as well.
Right. And let's just make sure, if you're want to check out the Cutthroats and Thieves on the DaveCon website, or Angry Dwarf Games, or DaveCon at Angry Dwarf Games, and Cutthroats and Thieves. You can go cutthroatsandthieves.com. There are rules on the DaveCon or on that website. So it's a C and T. It's underneath the home button, and you'll find.
Let's share that, and I'll. Yeah, so I will share that, and let's see, DaveCon.
Yeah, it's under home. It's under the home button. You'll see
It's under the home button on DaveCon. So CNT. Yeah.
Yep. And it's got all the cards scanned.
There you go.
And cool. It's got some FAQs and some my best advice on how to use the cards.
These cards, yeah.
So you've got a, like, there you go. They're like the backstab card. This is one of those cards. They use this card when you see someone has a lockbox. This takes away their ability to win for a few turns with gold. You know what I mean? It's just it's like a minor assassination card. Here you go. Give me your money.
There's a bait and switch.
Yeah.
Burglary.
Yeah.
Which steal a lockbox.
Yeah.
So counterfeit. I've used it in ambush, burglary, and create lockbox out of it. This is one of the last cards I would throw down. I've used it in an opponent as a backstab. All right, so this has the same function and value of any other card except the assassination or relic card. Yes, I was going to use this as a. I use this as a in my own run as a counterfeit 10 gold piece card.
And you can do that. That's fine. That's if you want to win that way, that's fine. But I use it more for stealing people's, that 25 gold. I would hold on to it. And a lot of the games we play, they use those as lockbox cards because they just want to keep stashing away the money, and so they got enough money. So
yeah. Yeah, I didn't get a lockbox card when I started, so I was like, your 3 laid down coin cards are safe from anything except a burglary card.
Right.
So,
now, did you get any of the expansion packs with it, Bloody? I don't.
Yeah, I did. There was only the one.
Yeah,
I got the Norse expansion pack.
Right. There's 4 different ones, but you got one of them. I don't know which one you got, but you got one.
I got the Norse.
Yeah,
the Norse expansion pack.
Yeah, there's 4 different ones with 4 different.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so let's see. So let's go to the website and see what the other ones are. So I remember you said that. So is this the right Angry Dwarf?
And what are we talking about here?
Angry Dwarf.
Everything for Angry Dwarf, Dave Kahn, Cutthroats and Thieves, I'll go to this website. So for now.
Okay.
All right.
So that might not. This might not be the right Angry Dwarf then. So anyway, let's see. Let me try to navigate this and see. So Cutthroats. So let me just do Cutthroats. Cutthroats and Thieves, Dave Kahn. No, it just brought me to this again.
Yeah, then you got to go. What's going on here? I had a typo in mine.
See, when I did CTT or CNT, it didn't bring me to buy any additional that I could see.
I will.
There's nothing. There's just an explanation of the different cards here, and not the store.
The relic cards yet? No, I can get those. I'll get those relic cards.
The store.
There are 4 different relic cards, or actually, there's 7 different relic cards. And hold on, .sheets.google. I'll pull it up really quick here. I'll explain it all to you here. Card game. There are Thor's hammer, Uller's bow, Suitor's sword. And then in the expansion packs, you can either get Odin's spear, Freya's necklace, Heimdall's armor, and if you were lucky enough, you got a misprint. The Therm's axe was misprinted as Thor's axe, and that's not supposed to be. We got
I got the misprinted one. I have Thor's axe.
Right. So you have the collector one, because guess what? Those will never come up again. They're never coming up again. I caught that when they came in from China, and I was like, oh God, they used the old files I sent them. So
I have.
If you got them, Bloody, take them and save them.
Yep, there it is. Thor's axe.
Yep, save those. Those are no longer going to be printed. Those are going to be the one-time deal. So that's a one-time. And if you look at the assassination card, it's printed wrong. It says AS, not ASS. So that's another one that will be fixed on the assassination cards. So That'll be fixed also for the next iteration of the game. So
yeah, let's see if I have that.
oh, I know you got it. I know you
Yeah,
got it.
you know what? To be honest with you, I didn't even pick up on it when I was playing through. So yeah, I was like Thor's axe. I was like, I never heard of Thor's axe before.
Yep, right there, the assassination card. Let's see here.
Yeah.
You see, it's AS, not ASS.
Okay.
But they're handy dandy rules inside the game. I mean, it's really easy.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it isn't complicated. So you got the first iteration of the game.
I've gone through almost the whole deck, and I haven't come across.
It's gonna be the last card.
It'll be the last card. It'll be the last card in the deck. Yes, it is. It's going to be the assassination card. Is going to be the last one in the deck. Yes, you are right. It's third to last. Yeah. So there's the typo.
Yep. It will not be in the next. It will be not in the next iteration.
So that will be fixed.
Yeah, that will be fixed. So if you got those cards, anybody who bought the cards, if you can
from the Kickstarter,
the first 250 decks, guess what? After that, those cards go away forever. Sort of like Magic the Gathering had some typos in their cards way back when nobody caught it, and those are like the collector cards now. So, but I mean, what are you gonna do? I mean, sometimes there's typos, sometimes there's not. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Now you want to talk about Dave Con, or what do you want to talk about?
Oh yeah. Let's talk about Dave Con. So this is what the third year of Dave Con?
Fourth.
Coming up. Fourth. All right. Okay. And so about how large was it last year?
242 paying guests, and then we had extras for like Dave McGarry, David Wesley, Mike Carr, all these guys, special guests. I gave them extra passes so that they could bring in some of their friends, local friends, local gaming friends. So as a thank you to them for bringing those people in. So
yeah, so I had already gone through the list, but I'll go back through it again. So here is the presentation. We're going to go through the guest list.
Yeah, so far, guest list so far.
Yeah.
I've already got some inquiries by some other people. So I was like, oh man, how many people am I going to stuff into this convention? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so you have Dave McGarry. All right. You have is this all of the Blackmore players, or
most of the local ones? And then I'm trying to, at EggCon, I'm going to be sticking the needle into some other guys and say, hey, why don't you come up? Now let me explain its things here. Dave McGarry, this is the 50th anniversary of his Dungeon the board game. We'll be doing something very special with that this year. So, and it might be, I'm looking in the cost right now of a human size board game, meaning I recreate the dungeon board game itself, the old one, and people are being used as the pawns themselves, or the markers themselves, and walking around the board at the convention. We're looking at doing that, so sort of like a 20-foot by 30-something foot board game, and you are the person. And then I found a source for 3-foot by 3-foot dice that you're actually going to be able to throw yourself. So anybody standing along the sidelines will be able to look at it, and while Dave is lording over everybody, so we're working on that as we speak. David Wesley, he's the creator of Braunstein, and I game with him quite often, and he will be there. Mike Carr, Don't Give Up the Ship, and Dawn Patrol, and Monty. He has is it Monte Carlo, the racing game, and some other stuff. Bill Hoyt is a original Blackmore player and also a miniatures player. He has a lot of those sandbox miniatures and stuff like that. Ross Maker is another gamer that was a Blackmore player and a co-creator with David Wesley of Source of the Nile. Baron DeRup has his Dungeon Masterpiece. He's on the interwebs. Heidi Gygax and Eric Garland. Everybody should know Heidi if they don't. She's quite humorous, and Eric, her husband, they're doing Gaxland is their company, and EggCon, which I'll be attending here week in some days. Justin Alexander, best-selling author for So You Want to Be a Game Master. He will be there. He's also a fine gamer. I've played a couple games with Justin. You think it, and you know what he's gonna do. He's one of those players that you're just like, okay.
Yeah.
He's got a very keen mind on rule sets and stuff like that. He's a fun player to play with. So Bob the World Builder and Grace, the happy couple, will be attending. And I don't know much about Bob. I've talked a little bit with him, but Baron DeRup and Professor Dungeon Master recommended he come to DaveCon, and so he's going to be bringing himself and his wife out for that. Greg Gillespie, Burrow Maze, and other fine stuff that we've all gamed with in the past. David Johnson, he's a streamer, another streamer, YouTube streamer, and he does the Macho Man Randy Savage Strayhand or something like that. It's quite humorous. He runs around in the convention in a Macho Man Randy Savage outfit and handing out Slim Jims. So he's always enlightening to have him around. He's quite the character. So, and let's see here. What do I just got here? Andy and Dave Thomas, you've had them here on Bloomer Games.
Yeah.
Ken Fletcher is a local artist who did Dave Arneson's artwork for his stuff. Really nice guy, very quiet, but really nice guy. Kevin McCall used to be the webmaster for Dave Arneson, and he'll be there doing his display again on the history of Blackmore. And then Mark Reinhagen. This is a Vampire the Masquerade. I've never played it. I've met Mark, though. He is a really nice guy, and I'm looking forward to seeing him. He's going to play a few games of that at DaveCon, he said. So,
yeah.
And then there's others in the work, and I'm working on those as we speak. So,
yeah. So I always look at April because April is April is usually the month when I have like an extended break, and from my post-retirement job, let's say. So looking at the dates here, the 25th through the 27th, that's not Easter weekend, is it?
No, it's not. It's the last weekend of April. And the reason I choose those dates are, for me, that's just because I'm sort of selfish like this. I get free labor. I got 4 sons, and they always have those days off because they're not in high school or not. It's like, no, free labor here. If I put it at the last week, it fits with that.
Yeah.
And students are not in school and stuff like that, so it works out here for me.
Yeah, because I was invited to WizardCon. Yeah, and I was like. And then it was it's Easter weekend, and initially I was like, "Oh, that's not too bad." I said, I says it works well because then the following Monday I wouldn't have work, and I normally work on Mondays, and so I said I would be missing out, But then I had to start thinking, we usually go to my wife's aunt's house for Easter. And her aunt and uncle are 93 and 90.
Yeah,
So
you don't miss that kind of stuff.
yeah, so I was like, you know what, it's I really appreciated the invite, but I was like, I
Well, you
just
always
not
got one. You
good
always
timing.
got one. You always got one to Dave Con. So if you ever
Yeah, I
want
know,
to
I
come,
know. So I got to see. I mean, because I tracked it out, I was like, oh, that's like a 15-hour drive. Yeah, so
well, I mean, it's either that or you get on like Sun Country Airlines and fly in, and then you have zero expense getting to the hotel because there's free transportation to the hotel.
yeah,
You just got your hotel expense, and I'm going to be renting a media room for interviews and stuff like that. So if you're
yeah.
from Bloodworth, you
I
let me
will certainly
know.
look into it because,
I
like I
will, I
said,
will, I will
I'll
set you
check.
up with all kinds of, you know, interviews and stuff like that. I mean,
Yeah, yeah, and I'm really looking forward to it. At least someday getting out there. And this might be the year. I'll take a look at it and look. I know the last time when you first invited me and I looked at it, it was like, what was that, like 2 years ago?
yep.
And the airfare was $800 one way. I was
Wow.
like, it was like the airfares were crazy a
Yeah.
year and a half, 2 years ago. I was like, just not like the ones that are available to me at that time. I was saying, I
Right.
just can't do it.
Right. Yeah. Let's see here. You fly out of Newark or you'd fly out of JFK? That's the only ones near
No,
you.
I'll probably fly her out of Westchester.
Oh, Westchester. Yeah, I don't think they fly into Westchester. The one airline I use a lot. No, I don't see that at all.
Yeah.
Nope. Yeah, I don't see. They
Yes,
got all kinds
I
of
mean, the
things.
other ones aren't impossible. Like any of the New York, I would never go out of Newark. I don't
Never out of
care.
Newark. I always liked
Oh,
Newark.
hate Newark. Absolutely hate it. Newark is the worst airport to pick somebody up or to drop somebody off.
They don't have.
It is by far the worst airport in my region.
Huh. That's interesting. Well, if you were to fly out of Newark, the
Yeah,
price would be $89 each way.
really.
Yeah,
What airline
89,
is that?
89 on a Thursday coming in and 79 going back on a Monday. That's
No, I'd look at Kennedy.
I don't know what Kennedy would be. I'd have to go back here.
Yeah, what
But
airline again?
that's Sun Country Airlines. That's my favorite airline. That's the one I use all the time to go anywhere.
Okay, I'll look into it.
Newark JFK price would be just shits and giggles here. Sorry for the swearing. Hope it doesn't demonetize you.
No, no.
April 24th. Come on, 28th.
Hey, Doc, how's it going? By the way, let's see if anybody else.
89 and 79. Same prices.
Same prices?
Same prices.
Is it a
Pretty
prop?
cheap.
Is it a prop plane?
No, it's a jet.
What's up? When I went to Gen Con in
Yeah.
'85 from what was it, from Mitchell Field to Milwaukee? 'Cause I think I went into
That is
like,
Mitchell Field in
yeah,
Milwaukee.
it's Mitchell Field, and it was a prop plane. That was the first time I was ever on a prop plane before. Now I know this is going back to like 1985, but still, I was like, wow, that was one hell of a rough flight, going there. So I was like,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, I
that
remember.
was definitely an experience.
Yeah, but I mean, if you book early enough, some of these airlines are fairly cheap, and you can get in for fairly cheap and fly out for fairly cheap. And I mean, that's who I use. I mean, that's my preferred airline because number one is you're not at the big airport, you're not at the
Yeah,
big terminal, you're at the terminal number two in Minneapolis, and you get off the plane, you go down the stairs, and you walk right out. I mean, literally,
yeah.
you walk right out. It's harder to get on a plane at the airport
Hmm.
than to get off the plane at that airport.
Right.
So
No, I'll definitely look into it, and I'll reach out to you and let you know,
yeah, that's
what
fine.
it's looking like.
Let's see here. What else are we talking about here?
So we got Dave Kahn taken care of, and
No, unless there's vendors out there listening to your show and they would like to come, they can reach out to me and see if they can put some things in. I've got some excellent people coming this year. I've got a recommitment by Goodman Games. Is it Trollord that does Castles and Crusades?
Yeah.
They are looking at coming next year.
Oh, do they have? Are they listed as sponsors or are
They're
vendors?
going to be a
Let's see.
vendor.
Oh,
I've
vendors
not
and
got any
artists. Let's
sponsors
see.
yet.
Oh, they're not there yet. Yeah,
I
so
got
you don't have them on the
Mythcraft
site yet.
coming. I got Mystic Days coming, and I've got like 3 other vendors. I've also got a T-shirt vendor coming this year who's going to do T-shirts on site. No more of this. Oh, like they don't have your size nonsense. It's going to be on site. You get your T-shirt just the way you want it, sort of
Cool.
thing. So I've been to too many cons where I've gone to the table and tried to get my T-shirt, and it's like, oh, all we got left is medium, and I'm like, I'm a 3X. It's gonna look like some girl walking on a beach or something. You know what I mean? I'm gonna wear this thing. It's not gonna be a pretty sight, you know. So let's see here. What else? I got some scheduled events that I sort of got planned already. If you go on the schedule for Dave Con, like the Mythcraft and Mystic Days tournaments, seminars, movies. I've got a guy coming in, a filmmaker. He's going to be showing his new D&D movie and taking questions. Of course, Bronstein in the games auction.
Mm-hmm.
And that's open to anybody. Anybody can put in stuff into our games auction and make some money. The largest item last year was believe it or not, was a magazine. A Dungeon number 69 magazine went for $400 or something like that. It was pretty funny. They were bidding that one up. But as for books, the most expensive one was a Oriental Adventures book that went for $150. AD&D book. And then Bronstein with David Wesley. Now, Dungeons and Dragons tournament and Cutthroats and Thieves on Sunday. Now, we've got stuff that isn't scheduled yet, and also we've got a new game that might be run every night at the bar called So You Married a Gamer. So if you bring your spouse, that's going to be. We've got the Mall of America near, and I've been pestered by a few of the lady guests that will be coming. They want to go see Prince the musical, Purple Rain. They want to go see that one night. So I'm like,
oh yeah, you guys, he was Minneapolis.
Yeah,
so,
it was like okay, now I got to find tickets to this. It's another one of my. I'm working the.
It's kind of the Graceland of Minneapolis, I would think, right?
Oh yeah,
Prince,
Paisley Park Studios out in Chanhassen. It's at the border of Chanhassen out there on Highway 7. They want to go tour that too, and I'm just like, oh, great, Now I do know one of Prince's relatives, but I haven't talked to him since his brother Prince actually died. So I don't know how to get a hold of this guy anymore. So trying to get range things so I could get a group together, like 12 tickets, and the ladies all want to go. It's like, okay, ladies, here's a van, here's a driver. Goodbye, have fun.
Yeah.
Your husband's will hit me, they'll be right here gaming when you get back, So we're trying to make it fun for everybody. Uh-oh, your wife yelling at you?
Yeah, I'll be one second. Probably ordering dinner. Hold on. Right.
Anyways, if anybody wants to reach out to me for DaveCon, let's see here. I don't know if I got my email address up there. Nope. Okay, it's you reach me at Angry Dwarf Games LLC at gmail.com. That's Angry Dwarf Games LLC at gmail.com. Let's see here. Anything else? Looking around here. You could also, if you want to order a game too, you could for Cutthroats and Thieves, you could go there too and order a game there. Let's see here. since I really can't share on the screen here, I would post some other stuff here so you could see it on YouTube. Let's see here.
Oh, sorry about that, everyone. Oh, and I see Victor is popping back in too.
I hit the wrong button here.
All right. Sorry about that. Yeah, it was exactly that. My printer, if you heard my printer run, so my wife wanted me to toss down what just came out of the printer, and then of course I had to put in my dinner order. So
yeah. Well, I got to do that too. I got to whenever my woman decides to come home tonight, she'll be like, "Hey, what do you want for dinner?" I'm gonna be like, "I don't know."
Yeah. So it's
I got lucky today. I got off early, so I was like, I thought it was gonna be a lot longer of a day, but I threw a wrench in the boss's plan, and I said, "No, this is what's gonna happen because I've got that much seniority at the company. I can just go, no, we're gonna do it this way today because it's gonna
make
nice.
For
everybody."
Yeah. So yeah.
So what are you working on, Bloody? Are you working on anything yourself? Or,
well, yeah, I am currently rewriting an adventure that I made for Conan 2D20, and I'm converting it over to Shadow Dark. Ooh. And I will be running that at ShireCon in September. Mm-hmm. I'm hoping to actually publish it sometime thereafter. Now, I want to publish it in digest form, right, and this whole format, and I want to go the whole 9 yards. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk with Tom Wilson, all right, who runs ShireCon, and be like, I want to, have, like, whether I have it go through him and through his publishing, or he just told me how to, like, who I need to talk to and do all of those parts. Then just how to produce this quality, this level, and this quality.
I use a company called Mixum for printing The Lost Tomb of Doom by James Ward. And it came out really well. And they're out of, I got that information from Heidi Gygax. Heidi Gygax turned me onto the company, and I was using a company out in LA, and it was like half the price. So I was like, oh, this works out for me. I was like, this is even better. So I use those guys, and I highly recommend them for printing. It turned out to be a fantastic deal, and they delivered on time. I had no problems whatsoever receiving the stuff. So,
so that's something I do. I want to start producing stuff at that, because the third party licensing with Shadow Dark is so easy, and so open right now that it's I'm really looking forward to it. And then I'll see, once I find, once I get into the groove of it, and figure out that whole process of making digest-sized adventure booklets of this quality, then I'll start churning out a lot of stuff. Because I have, I have a number of different game systems that I have written adventures for, and just never gotten around to publishing them. Like Conan 2D20, I have about 5 adventures that I've written. You just can't
make a book.
you can't produce them anymore. You can't. There's no license for that any longer. Now maybe the new one will have some open licensing, but I haven't gotten into the game system itself just yet, because as you might be aware, Heroic Signatures owns the Conan IP now. All right, for both comic books and anything printed other than the movies and and video games as well. So they basically own everything, except for the original works, right? Because that's public domain.
Right.
So looking into, doing more stuff with Shadow Dark set in Hyborian, in the Hyborian age. So kind of combining the two up and, and just,
now, who prints Hyboria again? I don't remember who that is.
Hyperborea. Hyperborea is Jeff Talanian.
Right. I knew somebody. I knew it was a name. I just haven't seen him around anymore. So.
Yeah. Oh no, he's mostly East Coast. Like he's going to be. He does ShireCon in Connecticut. That's the one that's very local for me. That's like an hour away from me. So that's always going to be one of my go-to places. And then there's he also was he at Philadelphia Game Expo? He probably is at Philadelphia Game Expo.
I've been invited to both of those, especially Ron has been bugging me to come to Philadelphia, but it's just, I look at
it's like me going to the Midwest, right? It's like it's such a schlep.
It isn't so much that is that I'm looking at it going, all right. Now my mom's family is from Philadelphia, so if I flew in and they caught wind of this, I'd be like, oh, I gotta go to this, I gotta do that. How much time would it be at the convention? I'd be pulled 3 ways from Sunday, and I'm just like, and I'm just sort of like going, oh man, and then where do I fly into? And I'm just, and this year it's especially where I'm looking at it going, if I move to Florida, like I plan on doing, am I gonna have the money and time to just, I mean, drop everything and fly up there and do the thing and then come back down and stuff like that. But and I got the cons I like to go to, of course. Gary Con. I've been to EverCon, Dave Con, of course, and GrogCon, which is actually Crucible, which is something else down in Orlando now. It got folded into all these conventions. I'll be doing that one in Orlando, and now EggCon, I'll be going down to that, and hopefully that turns out okay. So I mean, just I love going to conventions. It's just how much time do you have and money because they get quite expensive sometimes. I mean, just the cost for EggCon was extraordinary because it's a summer out there at Lake Geneva. It just it's like wow. So it can be. I know what you're talking about when it comes down to money. It's like I'm not spending $250 a night for a hotel if I can drive 20 minutes, and that's what I'm going to be doing down there at EggCon. So it's like, okay, I can get something for a third of the price 20 miles away instead of staying right there on the lake. I'll take a half hour, get up a half hour early and go.
Yeah, that's what I heard about. Like Gary Con and that it's very expensive to go there because I looked at that too. I looked at that as well, and I was like, wow, this thing, this whole convention. My convention expenditures are roughly, $500. All right. That's the whole weekend. Usually the Thursday night through, I leave Sunday mornings. So that covers all 2.5, 3 days of the convention itself. That is now I drive. So, my maximum distance right now has been about a roughly 3 hour drive. So when I go to Massachusetts, that particular one is like 2.5 hours, let's say. Philadelphia is about 3 hours from me.
It's nothing at some of these larger conventions to drop $1,000. It's nothing.
Yeah.
When you get flights, rooms, dinners, and tickets into the game or badges coming into the convention, you could spend $1,000 pretty quick.
So I spend $1,000, let's say, going to 4 conventions. You know what I'm saying? Like in total, like $1,000 going to 4 conventions and that. So when I was looking at it, I was like, well, it's like $1,200 for Gary Con.
Right.
I was like, and it just wasn't, not going to do that for just one weekend. It's like,
and here's the thing too, is that and I'm not slighting Gary Con or Gamehole or Origins or Gen Con. I mean, they're far larger than Dave Con. By a factor of 5 at least.
Yeah.
Each of those is, right? But I don't know if I'm gonna say, I don't know if it's politically correct way to say this, but that's a money cow. I mean, it is.
Yeah.
It is a money
cow. They're not like the concept that the concept that I go to. They're about 300 people. You know what I'm saying? And to me, that's
are somewhat break even. I mean, they're basically break even deals, and that's the same with Dave Con. I mean, yes, I bring in some guests, and my ticket prices reflect that, but I'm breaking even basically in every one of these cons, and it's like it's just the way it is. These conventions. Hi, honey, I'm on an interview. But the the conventions can be quite expensive, and dependent on the deal with the hotel rooms and everything else, and
right.
I mean, it's like they see you coming, walking in the door. I mean, when you're paying $20 for a pizza that you could have bought at the grocery store for $3.
Yeah.
It was it's just the nature of a convention. So
yeah.
But
I will definitely look into Dave Con. I will check out. I think you sent me on the private chat. You sent me the link for is that the airline or?
No. I'll send you that one too. That is the publishing.
Oh, that's a publishing. All right.
That's the publishing people that I use.
Okay.
It's fairly easy. You can do it right online, and they send you proofs like right away. I mean, digital proofs of how things are within a day, and make sure you can print your stuff out. And it's really nice. So it's I got another one coming out. I'm going to combine the Lost Tomb of Doom with 4 other modules I've got sitting in my computer right now to make a book. So 5 adventures for I'm trying to price it at about the $30 mark. So you get 5 AD&D adventures for $30, including the Lost Tomb of Doom, which is Jim Ward's last module, all for $30. I mean, so
is Dave Wesley ever going to reprint Braunstein?
I've talked to David about this. Now I've got. Where's my copy? I'll show you it. Hold on here.
I mean, I've seen the one that's the return of. It's like somebody made like a another copy of it. Yeah, that's the one that I've seen. Is that his or?
Hold on. I will show you. This is Barons of Braunstein.
Right.
David Wesley sells these at conventions.
Okay.
And this is printed by some guys called Old House Rules down in Omaha, Nebraska. David had went to a convention in Omaha, saw them trying to sell these, and they said, they're talking to David and said, they said, well, David's dead. They didn't think he was around anymore, so they thought they could get away with publishing it. And David pops out his license and says, I'm not quite dead yet. And they're just, oh my God. So they worked out a deal to do these.
But is that his rules or they're modified from his rules?
Modified somewhat. And and here's the thing, it really gets my goat. And these guys that say, oh, we play Braunstein. I'm like, have you ever played it with David Wesley? Answer my question.
That's why I'm asking if he actually put to paper his own rules and then
he's got some of that down, and he's given it to Griff Morgan of
right.
Yeah, Griff Morgan's supposed to be working on that stuff, and I've offered David, if Griff doesn't get it done, because he gave Griff first shot at it, I said I'll come up to your house every day for 2 weeks, and we'll write down all this stuff. Get it, because David is a fountain of knowledge, and you should really get him on your show one day. But he is.
Well, I would love. All I need to do is get the contact. He is welcome anytime. If you want to come on with him, anytime that you can set that up, I am open to it.
I can get you contact info. I'll just call David and say, hey, I want to give your number to somebody, and I can get you his phone number and stuff. That's not a problem.
Yeah, so. As long as I can get into, because I would love to have him on the show and talk to him, and and just after watching like the Secrets of Blackmore and seeing that whole thing, I mean, Griff is a great guy too. I mean, I've had him on my channel a couple of times, but I would love to. Love to have Dave Wesley on the show. That way I can,
you better be prepared for at least a 2-hour episode, because David.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I'll give him the, 4 hours if he wants, which is my maximum extension, so
there's
as much time as he wants.
There's a running joke inside of David Wesley's home game. And it's me and a guy named Steve Rockford. Rockford's known David Wesley for 50 years.
Yeah.
And we always play like Memoir 44 or one of these ship games, like Close Combat Rules, where he's got this big table in his basement with this laid out in a grid, and you're moving ships around and stuff like that. And you're playing medieval ships like the British versus the French. And you'll see it sometimes on Gaming with Wesley on Facebook. If you put that in there, you'll see some of those pictures on there. And David Wesley will write a white paper on his moves. He will sit there and talk to himself and try to figure out what moves he's going to do, while me and Rockford will sit there and text each other. You're ready for the white paper? and see, the reason we joke about this is because Rockford was a line officer. You just get things done. Wesley was always a staff puke. We'd call that in the military. You know what those are.
Yeah.
He would write these papers, and then they'd go circulating around, and then they come back, and they'd go back around again. And so Wesley would does stuff like that, and he'll write a white paper on whatever's happening. And while me and Rockford are sitting there, before the turn is done, on our side of the table, we'd be like, okay, we put all our moves down and say, here you go, we're done. And we'd have to wait 10 minutes for Wesley to have a conversation with everybody on his team. But it's quite humorous, and how the thinking, but he is brilliant. I will give David Wesley props on the brilliance part, because he will go through every permutation, while like me and Rockford will just be automatically like, oh no, after we've seen the moves that the other team's done, we've already know what our next move is. So it's just sort of like we're anticipating a lot faster than he is. But he'll do the chess piece thing, 3 moves out. If I do this, so I can hook you up with David Wesley. That's not a problem.
That would be awesome. Like I said, having watched that, watched the Secrets of Blackmore, and when he was talking about, because I even picked it up. I mean, I grabbed myself a copy of this, and I actually tried to read Strategos. All right, and so he has Strategos N, and I can't find that anywhere.
Oh, well,
that's what I'm hoping that he actually puts in print.
I know of maybe 3 copies, 4 copies sitting around. I know where one of them is. It's down in Florida with a friend of mine. He actually talked David Wesley into selling a copy of Strategos N to him. And I was just like, how much did you get it for? And he told me the price, and I was just like, I just about was creping rubber nickels there, because I was like, oh my God, I wanted a copy of it. You know what I mean? I don't even really want a copy to put on my shelf. I just want to be able to scan the whole thing and go, I've got it on my computer.
Yeah. Well, that's really what I'm hoping that he will, someday just put back into print, or put it in print for the first time, because I don't think it was. It was probably like Dave Arneson only had like a couple of copies of his kind of notes kind of thing, and it was never published.
The Ross Maker now, that comes to DaveCon, he runs with Strategos and at DaveCon.
Right.
And now I'm going to tell you something here. Most of those guys that you see on my list no longer are going to be going down to GaryCon because it's just too much. And last time a bunch of them came back with COVID and stuff like that. So I think we'd rather be at home if something happens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I was like, okay, I'm not gonna say anything, besides, hey, it's your choice to whatever you want to do. So, but yeah, Ross Maker runs at Strategos, and he'll probably be running that again at DaveCon next year. So and then Bill Hoyt runs First Campaign, which is the Blackmore campaign, and that's gonna be a raucous bunch of fun. I mean, the first year we ran that, Ernie Gygax burned down the castle. So from the inside, I was like, okay, revolution, everything else. So, I mean, but it's just, there's all kinds of firsts. Sometimes there's firsts going on at DaveCon and stuff like that. So like Ernie playing in that First Campaign game, he never played it before. So I was like, okay. And then David Wesley had sat in on AD&D game by Robert Ritchie of Flipping and Turning magazine. I don't know if you've ever talked to him. Have you ever talked to Robert Ritchie?
No, never.
He's got a old school magazine called Flipping and Turning that it's all AD&D stuff, and it's really nice. It's going to be going to PDF version. I can probably send you a copy of that or something here, but it's Smoldering Gun Games.
Smoldering Gun Games, or
yeah, hold on, I'm putting it into your
Flipping and Turning. I've heard of.
Yeah, and that's part of the Grog Talk Crucible / Crucible Orlando is now called QuestCon Orlando. It's called QuestCon down there. So I will be attending that. And that's a fun little convention down in Orlando. If you can get a cheap flight down, it's maybe 40 or 50 old school guys like me. And and then then you've got guys like Lou Pulsifer's down there. He lives in Orlando now. Or no, he lives in Gainesville. And there's a Blackmore guy that lives over in Tampa. I think he was invited this year too to come over. And Greg Svensson or something like that. He was invited to come over too and play. So I don't know who's all gonna show up.
Right.
It's not my convention. They asked me to run that AD&D part of it, but I was like, I don't live down there. I can't. You know what I mean? I there's just not enough time for me to just sit there with Dave Kahn on one hand and doing 2 or 3 conventions. It's just I do not want to be. I don't want to be known as the guy that runs too many goddamn things. And
no, I know that's why when I look at it, it's like I'm going to do. I have 2 very local conventions I will always go to. I have one in my own town. It's about 50 people now. Last year was like 30. So I was like, all right, cool. So that's literally 7 minutes from my home. So I will always go to AutoCon, that is in, Pleasant Valley, New York, always go to it. I will always go to ShireCon, which is in Connecticut, 45 minutes away. All right. That's about 150, 200 people. And then I'm fairly certain that I'll always go to the Philadelphia Game Expo. The only thing that makes me nervous about that one is that it's in January. So I never know what the hell the weather's going to be doing. So it's like, so that's always like a thumbs up, thumbs down thing on it as far as the weather's concerned. And then I have been going to Rising Phoenix in April, but I will definitely look at Dave Con this year in April instead. That way I can, like I said, I would have gone to that Wizard Tower Con or whatever it was called. That was from Wizard Tower Games. Was running that one. And the only thing that prevented me from going to it was the fact that it's, it's that weekend, that Easter
Right.
weekend. So family considerations came into play.
Oh,
But Dave Con is actually the end of April, so that shouldn't be an issue.
well, it's also
for me.
after tax season too, and that was the first couple times that I had Dave Con is that tax season was always, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It was like I was running right up against the tax deadline. And I was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And then I moved it, then I shifted it, to 2 weekends further out from Gary Con, which
Yeah.
helped from some more people go, hey, and then people are weighing the cost of going to a con. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do I go
Um,
to Gary Con or this con or this con or this con, and which one do I go to? Which one am I going to have more fun at or whatever? And do I get to meet
Yeah.
these people? And this is something that I frown upon. How do I want to say this? I really don't like guests that aren't interactive with the gaming crowd. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They just want to be, they just want to make their 2-hour appearance waving their hand or whatever. Then they want to skate back to their room or whatever. I like all my guests. I mean, they like walking around, shaking hands, playing in different games
Right.
like that,
Yeah.
and mixing with the whole crowd and stuff.
Yeah. That's how I'm looking like. So I'm a special guest at the Philadelphia
Yeah.
Game Expo, and so I was like, all right, I'm going to run, as many sessions as I can. I said that's the way that I'll contribute to it. So I'm running a game session every day, and then I will be floating around and going to various seminars too, because I want to meet people as well. I'm going as a player, as well as a game master and as well as a YouTuber, and try to combine up all of those. If I go to Dave Con, I'm going as a player. I mean, I'm playing in as many of those games as I possibly can.
I'll tell you what, I'll make you a deal. If you come,
Yeah.
you play all the games you want, but I'm gonna make you do at least a few interviews and
absolutely. I'll interview at the table while I'm playing. It's like, but yeah, I mean, I'm going, if there's, like you said, if there's a Strategos end game going, how am I not going to play in that? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like,
it's like Bronstein. When Dungeon Master
I'm definitely playing in Bronstein. I'm definitely playing in Strategos End. I'm definitely playing if Ernie Gygax is running something, I definitely want to play in one of his games. There's this, I am going as a fan, as a, as a gamer.
Professor Dungeon Master, when he came, he sent me private messages and this is and I was all fine about it. And he's like, I want to be in this game. I want to be in this. I want to be in this game, and I want to be in this game. Otherwise, I'll do seminars. And I said,
yeah,
okay, I'll work it out. And so I purposely worked their schedule around to say, okay, you're in Bronstein. You're in. You want to be in Bronstein, so I put him in Bronstein. He wanted to be in. Don't Give Up the Ship. He was in Don't Give Up the Ship. He was in Dawn Patrol. He was in Dungeon with Dave McGarry. And it was like I want to be in these, and some of them I didn't sign them up because I just know that I could just shove you into the game. It's sort of like, oh, come on, I'll introduce you.
It's like, oftentimes, I guess people don't always think that, when we go to these things, we're as enthusiastic fans as anybody else. It's like we're going there to meet people. We're going there to play in their games. And then do our own thing as well. So
here's the thing is, I put Dave Con together thinking I'm going to be able to play some of these games.
Yeah,
how many games I've played in the entire time I've had running Dave Con?
Zero.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing. Like Scott Legault, who runs Rising Phoenix, he never gets a chance to play anything. It was like, oh, I'm running this whole thing. So I know, and Tom Wilson, who runs ShireCon, he says the same thing, and he says my family's been telling me at least get one game session in where I'm actually running something, and no one that organizes gets to play.
Right.
You're running the whole show, and I get it. That's just a.
I'm getting lucky this year. My son Derek is an enthusiastic game player. Out of all four of my sons, my son Derek is the enthusiastic game player. He loves going to David Wesley's house. He loves playing games and stuff like that. And he said, Dad, next year you're playing games. I'm gonna run the show from the registration desk. The only thing is you got to have a walkie-talkie on you, so in case something goes wrong. So I might be able to play a game.
Yeah.
We'll see about that. You know what I mean? Because I'm just like, okay, because everybody recognizes me. I wear distinctive clothing, and they're just like, hey, Vic, just like, okay, I mean, answer more questions. Where's so-and-so? Where's this person? Where's that person? Okay, go down here to this area. But the new hotel has got a better format where it's finding rooms is going to be a lot easier, and there's going to be like there's three main gaming halls on one side of the registration desk, the vendor hall, and then down a certain hallway is going to be the games like for Dawn Patrol and certain other games, and the media room where you will be able to, it's a quiet room, just a small like office type setting that we can set it up for, like you can sit there and talk with David Wesley or Mike Carr, somebody like that for 15-20 minutes and get a snippet for your show and stuff like that. So I mean,
no, I'm definitely looking forward to it. All right, so hey, thanks a lot for coming on. I know we were like touch and go like yesterday. I know you were like, hey, I can do it 10, and yesterday was no, I think Tuesday night. I was like, damn, I had this neighbor's dinner party to go to. So I ended up canceling my game yesterday on Tuesday night. I was like, that dinner party, which was a nice dinner party. I won't deny it. But I was like, I got to put so many plans that I had, on hold for this week.
It's the nature of our business when we're still working. I mean, it's not like we're, this is a full-time gig, this gaming stuff. When we turn 65 and we're finally retired, then we can sit here and hey, I'm available at 9:00 tomorrow morning.
Yeah. All right. Well, Victor, it was good seeing you again. You're always welcome to come on, and
you just give me a call if you want some considered opinion about something. That.
Yeah, and we'll definitely look into Dave Kahn. I know I'm like looking over the website now. I guess the venue tab isn't set up yet or whatever.
I got the contract sitting in my thing. I just got to reread it again because I had another change, but it's locked in. I've signed the contract once, but we've made some changes and I got to sign it again and send it back because the dinner party on Thursday night where all the special guests come and VIPs come is they wanted to hold it in one room at the hotel. And I'm like, no. I want it in this room because it's next to the bar. And so we had to make that small change in the contract because I was like, no, I know my guests like that, and I want to play that game. So you married a gamer, because a lot of the VIPs bring their guests, their spouses with. So it's sort of like, okay, we're going to ask some questions here and have a little fun, so, and, buy some drinks and have some fun. I mean, I think David Wesley one year closed down the bar because he was sitting there BSing the whole night. He said he didn't pay a single drink. He said, I didn't buy a single drink all night, and he closed down the bar. So I was just like, okay, David, whatever you want to do. I mean, if that's what you want.
I guess I'll have to bring a lot of drinking money too. So,
well, it's whatever. I mean, it's just that's what he wants to do. I just sort of give David the free rein. I mean, he's a friend, and I just say, whatever you want to do, David, just tell me. I will make the arrangements, and just sort of let him go and and do what he wants. If he wants to play a game of AD&D with somebody, I'll walk up and say, make some space because David Wesley's coming over to play. You know what I mean? Or he wants to play something else. I just tell people, make some space because here he comes, you know. So that's just part of the game. It's just part of being a, convention organizer. It's just sort of, you got to bring these people. And it's just shock to some of these people when they see somebody like David Wesley or Ernie Gygax or, somebody like that just walk up and say, can I slip into your game? It's like,
yeah.
It's a highlight of their day, it's a highlight of their convention. So, but yeah, I will keep you in mind, Bloody, and then keep me posted. I sent you my private phone number. So
yeah, I got it. I got everything. I got everything cut and paste on a sheet. I'll start taking a look at everything. I will take a look at how that schedule is going to work. I was already looking at April of 2025.
And you bring your wife, I know it might be expensive for
no,
you.
She's not a gamer.
No, well, the Mall of America is less than a mile away from the convention. And if she likes Prince, we can get her to go do that too.
Yeah. Yeah, no, actually, she's actually going to be in school. So
oh, okay.
It's like, yeah, she'll be working, see my schedule next school year, basically my schedule, I don't work Thursdays and Fridays. Yeah, I'm working Mondays through Wednesday. I will probably fly in Thursday. That way, the first day is the Friday, and I'll do from Thursday to Sunday.
And if
I would leave on a Sunday, and because then I work on the 28th. Unless that's I got to look at the New York City school calendar because even my post retirement job is still with the Teachers Union of New York City, and so they follow the school calendar. So I don't know when their spring break is, but hopefully it's that week, and then I don't have to worry about missing work at all.
Oh, who knows? We'll figure it out. But yeah, that dinner on Thursday night is usually a pretty good turnout. We usually have 30 people plus at that thing, and you get to sit next to people like Mike Carr and David Wesley and eat with them and stuff.
Yeah.
And some of them bring their spouses too, so it's a good time.
Yeah, so. No, I'll definitely look into that, and I'll get back to you. I'll get back to you, fairly shortly. We'll see.
We got plenty of time.
Once I get all the details logged in. But yeah, definitely do that.
All right. Let me know.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah,
and we'll be in touch. Take care.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.